I'm Deborah Marshall from Generation Farms. I was extremely fortunate to enter the equine facilitated wellness field at a time that was really exciting. It was in the year 2000, we had a new century, and things were popping up all over the Western world where people were finding ways to bring horses to people in a different way. Of course, horses had been in our lives for centuries and thousands of years, but there was something that people were discovering that was different in a way we could join with them and learn from them. As a lifelong horse owner, I'd been a riding instructor and a counselor for many years at that point. I had always been interested in how this might happen, how I might be able to combine these two aspects of my life. And I'd had some times where the horses did something that nothing else could do. When I took people that had no interest left in living to the horses, and something would always happen that would change that, something I wasn't able to do. So I knew there was something there that was extremely powerful. I knew it for myself, but I really didn't quite know how to bring that about in a formal way. When I heard that there were some trainings happening in the United States, I started to go and attend things. I attended a gala training, which gave me a way to start, but it didn't fit for me. In the end, I went and studied with Linda Kahana for 4 years, and that really helped me see past some of the patterns I had, some of the ways I viewed horses. And from there, I was able to combine with other things that I was doing. About the same time that I started to explore this part with the horses, I was also studying somatic therapies. I was studying this new natural horsemanship that people were talking about, and had a horse that all the conventional things that I'd done no longer worked for him. And so after many years of owning horses, I really was ready to learn something new and different. And that, along with mindfulness practice, a number of things just came together. It was a time when many things were separate. Just as in the horse world, the dressage people didn't want to talk to the hunter-jumper people, who didn't want to talk to the Western riders, to the reiners, to the other disciplines. The things were separate, and it was like that in the mental health field. It was like that in many areas. But it was a very rich time where people started to understand that there were many things that people were experiencing and exploring. And while the language was different, there were common concepts at the core. That's what I found the horses brought, is a landing place where things that were important seemed to come together and develop organically. I had long been interested in change that helped people in a positive way, that drew on their strengths. I was interested in people finishing work feeling better than when they started, and not unpacking things in a way that left them feeling that they were less than or overwhelmed. The horses also brought that. I had many good horses and good people to help me really learn and understand this new way of being that I was discovering. Tsunami was a young horse that I got, and he was an orphan, and he was very complicated. He was very frightened. I didn't understand how to help him, and as a long-time horsewoman, that was very humbling. What I discovered with the help of some of these new ways that were not, of course, new, of being with horses, was to have patience, to learn to take pressure off instead of putting it on, to really be present and quiet in my own body, to be able to use a more intuitive side and to make connection with him. And from there, we grew together, and he grew into our finest therapy horse. He's capable of holding a very deep place with people. He understands loss, and he's been my partner. I also had the fortune to have my daughter, Emily Pelche, who at this point is a master's level counselor, a riding instructor, and when we began was a young woman exploring horses and the idea of entering the equine profession. We did trainings together, we explored things together, and she really delved into the area of the horse, while I was delving into neuroscience and all of the things around working with people, as well as the horses, and putting them together. Another person that has contributed greatly to what we do now and what we've learned at Generation Farms is our colleague Kate Burns. She's an MSW, Master of Social Work, and came not with a history with horses, but with great curiosity and intellect and interest in nature. And she has brought many of those attributes, as well as a freshness to looking at horses, that helped us to see past some of the things that we were doing and to do things in new ways.
Hi everyone, my name's Kate Burns and I'm part of the Generation Farms team. I came to Generation Farms in 2007 and have been here ever since. I'd worked mostly as an adult educator and counselor with people who had experienced interpersonal violence. Often folks had experienced absences or ruptures in relationships that made it hard for them to trust or connect, not just with others, but with themselves, and even in their sense of belonging with the greater web of life. I arrived at the farm with a strong nature-based perspective rooted in a relational approach, but I had no horse experience. Almost immediately, I was moved by the horses and recognized a relational, alive, and heartfelt quality in what the horses were offering. The experience resonated with what I valued most in the nature-based work, and I understood what a difference this could make in the lives of the folks I worked with. In time, as I worked with the horses more, I also saw how this work benefits them. The reciprocity inherent in our equine-human partnerships is central to our programs and training. It's a privilege to be involved in this work, to partner with wise, attuned, and willing equines, as well as a talented human team. As a mental health and learning professional, mentor, and co-facilitator of the trainings we offer each year, it's a great joy for me to participate with the horses and to bring to others this work of generating and growing connections and finding new and life-enhancing ways of being in relationship. One of the foundational elements that I most appreciate about equine facilitated wellness, or EFW, is the priority given to the care of the horse. Having our horses back at all times is central to our work. With a nature-based focus, that consideration extends even further to include being aware of the land and all that live on it, the environment that supports us all. We've incorporated a nature-based component into our training for several years now. And core concepts common to both nature-based and EFW guide us in this approach. Taking time, pausing. This is work that is not done or learned in a hurry, even when we're being active. Attending to the present moment and the information available to us, not just cognitive information, but also the information we're getting from our bodies, through our senses, in the relational dynamic. Influenced by neuroscience, we also follow the expression of the nervous system, both in humans and in equines, and incorporate an understanding of the window of tolerance, a concept first introduced by Dan Siegel, which helps cultivate not only greater awareness, but really a deeper sense of connection and social engagement, so central to the work that we do here.
Hi, I'm Emily Pelche, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the programs for riding and horsemanship that we offer at Generation Farms. So we have a recreational riding program. Our riders are interested in jumping and dressage and some various different things. We do bareback and bridleless riding as well for some of our students, and we have a horsemanship program. Some of our students are just involved in the horsemanship program, whereas our riders will take part in both programs. And one of the things we also really love to do is work with our EFW students. My horse is moving around, is to work with our EFW students with their horsemanship skills as well. So one of the things that's really important for us here at Generation Farms is that our core concepts cross over into all of our programs. And so that means that our recreational students also learn about things like body awareness. They learn how to do things like when they go and catch their horses, to pay attention to boundaries. we use body awareness in their riding lessons and also as a way to track things like nervousness or confusion. And so that's really helpful in those programs. So while it's not a therapeutic program, those are things that are life skills that everybody can use and that really help us with our relationship with our horses. You know, I think that that term, something being simple but not necessarily being easy, that really comes to mind when thinking about working with horses the way we do here at Generation Farms. Sometimes I think what we're doing is so straightforward, but really it's not. There's so many nuances to it. There's so much learning and education and life experience that goes behind it. Timing to learn and, you know, how to really work with horses in a way that is nonviolent, that keeps their spark alive. And so I think that's part of what is really important to all of us here at the farm. And it is really important to us that our horses have the best care that they can have, and that their relationships with people are consistent. And so that means that when everybody's sharing the same core principles that and learn some of the same skills, that the horses really feel a consistency between the different handlers that might be around. So whether it's somebody coming for a counseling session, or it's staff in the barn, or it's a riding lesson student, that people are going to learn some of the same skills around horses and around self-awareness, and that really aids in the well-being of our horses.
In 2006, we were asked by a group of people who'd been attending workshops if we could teach them what it was we were doing, and so we started. We don't teach trauma therapy in our basic trainings, but I guess you could see that our approach all along is what would now be called trauma-informed. This is very helpful not only for mental health therapists, but also for learning professionals and equine professionals as you support people from various backgrounds to be able to work in a way that they feel resourced and safe, and that you can work at a pace that is good for them. This is also good for the horses and helpful for us as practitioners to be able to keep ourselves safe and well regulated as we do the work that we love to do. Kate, Emily, and I were all involved in the early days of what is now Pro EFW, a wonderful association with strong ethics that allows us to offer certification with the umbrella of and support of people who believe strongly in horses and their well-being and doing ethical work. We're ever so fortunate to be a part of this organization. We have active programs and a multidisciplinary staff, including child and youth workers, equine professionals, social worker, counselors. Our team works with a varied population, doing different activities from children taking riding lessons to adults who've had very challenging lives, children who are experiencing anxiety and unrest. And yet we all use the same core principles and find that it's flexible to adapt to all these situations. This also allows us to support each other with a common understanding of our work. I'll finish by taking you down the rural road that leads to our beautiful Generation Farms property in the Yellow Point area on Vancouver Island. It's a lovely home for our horses with rolling fields and lots of trees for shelter, variety. They live outside in shelters all year long because of our temperate climate in Vancouver Island. We have round pens and riding rings that we've added, lots of areas for people to walk and to sit comfortably in nature, which is a large part of our program. Also has good infrastructure where we are able to welcome people and horses under cover, inside, seating areas. It's a beautiful home for us, and I hope that we continue to welcome people here for many years to come. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch our video. We love to be in this field. It's so close to our hearts, and it's wonderful now to have so many people involved in the field and so many resources that enrich the work for all of us.